In today's video, we take a look at a man who refuses to pay child support for a kid, not his, and this man here who leaves his bride at the altar after she did this. But before we jump in, please make sure to subscribe the channel and turn on the bell notification. So this woman went to see her ex just before their wedding. Is she mad, or does she think that he is a fool who won't be able to understand what would have happened there? And then she most probably invited him to the wedding as well, and the anger on the groom's face is absolutely justified because he won't want to be stuck in a similar situation as this guy here.
This judgment is so old and the fight so new in court that this man's only choice may be to pay the $65,000 to support a child that isn't his and who he's only met once last year. Gabriel Cornejo came to Harris County Family Court hoping he wouldn't have to leave common sense at the door.
I've never thought that in my life I would have to defend myself of something that I'm innocent of.
Cornejo is a father. He's raising his 3 kids and 2 of his brother's children. But last year tells us a deputy showed up at his door with court papers claiming the state of Texas thinks he has another child.
She turned out to be 15, 16 years old at the time, I think.
Cornejo claims he never knew and pretty much immediately set out to meet his then 16-year-old daughter for what he says was the first time.
She's a wonderful girl, very smart, just a lot going on for herself.
He, his wife, and the ex-girlfriend he broke up with 16 years ago all agreed he should get a DNA test, and he did.
Well, the results came in and I'm not the father.
But that's not the end of the case, not even close. Cornejo's ex still wants the money, and so does the state of Texas. In 2003, Cornejo's ex-girlfriend went to court and said Cornejo was the only possible father. The state of Texas got what's called a default judgment and started assessing child support payments, which continue to add up, now totaling nearly $65,000. Cornejo says he was never told. Court records suggest, but don't prove, he got a subpoena way back when, and he denies it. Lawyers for the mother of the child suggest support was taken from Cornejo's paycheck long ago and Cornejo never fought it. That can be enough to establish a Loctite claim that Cornejo should have dealt with this long ago.
Don't stick your head in the sand because it's not going to go away, and there can be consequences even if you don't do anything.
Unfortunately, this young child is the one who suffers.
Unless he and his lawyer can convince a judge to take a second look, there's nothing that can change the old court order, and Cornejo will still owe all that money.
They say he should have fought it back then. He failed to do so. He didn't do so within 4 years. But how can you fight something you don't know anything about?
The case will be back in court later this summer. In the meantime, Cornejo is pushing for a change in state law that could prevent situations like the one he's in. Ted Oberg, 13 Eyewitness News.
So a woman can just claim that a random guy is the father of her child, and the state would just type up an order for the man to pay child support without her providing any solid proof regarding that claim. And worst in this case is that the guy doesn't even know it, and even after getting a negative DNA test, he won't get any relief from it, and then you get women like her who rant about how hard their life is.
Dating in your 40s, I mean maybe 30s too, I don't know. It's really hard. I feel like that, you go in and at this point, everybody has baggage, right? You've lived your life, you've been dating for most people for half your life, or been in some kind of relationship, or taken a break from relationships. And a lot of times by this point, you both have kind of gotten set in your ways, or you're used to things a certain way. You know what you want, But then you also, you know, maybe want a relationship too. So then it's like you try to be agreeable, or you try to find someone that will work, you'll work well together, you know, like the perfectly imperfect, right? But it is so hard. I recently got out of a relationship and things seemed to be going really well. And then we got to know each other a little bit more. And then all of a sudden, like, I just realized that we're not quite as compatible as what I thought. And it's like you get invested and you spend this time, and then with the person that you're wanting to get to know or spending time with, and you like plan things and like thinking about like, well, the what ifs and like what could be, and you know, and it sucks. Like when you realize that it's not going to work out, because then it's like each time that happens, it's like you have this mini grief period of like, well, that's not going to work out. And I can see why sometimes when people are just like, they don't want to go through it anymore. And they're just like, yeah, I'm done with dating. But then I'm like, so the alternative is then you get to this point of where at this age, most people, they're busy with their significant other. So whether they are married or in a serious relationship or have kids or families, whatever. And so it's like, if you want to have people to hang out with or to spend time with, like, they're not really as available as what they were, like, you know, in 20s or even early 30s. I don't know what the answer is. I mean, I can see why some people are single for like a long period of time. It's not fun.
Every post-wall woman should ask herself one question. How did she end up in this mess? What was she doing when she was in her 20s? Because now in the eyes of men, they are nothing but damaged goods. And if in 20 years you could not find a compatible guy, then what are the odds that you would find him now?
Babe, if you're still using dating apps, please share with the class why. Obviously, it has not worked up until now and you're still using them. Like Hinge, a surefire way to get yourself a nice therapy bill and PTSD, because you're going to date a guy on there that is going to love bomb you, going to manipulate you, and turn around and probably have a girlfriend or 10,000 other girls that he's telling that he loves too. And in my personal opinion, Bumble is just embarrassing. I don't think that is a good way to find yourself a quality man. Like, don't you want the man to be the one who, like, has to pursue you? And I know girls say, oh, it's a good way to weed them out. You're still on there. So is it? If you absolutely have to use a dating app, go and use something like a mall date. Find yourself a nice man like in South America or on the other side of the ocean. Or even, honestly, use like Sugar Daddy Meet or something. Get something out of it. Please. Because the guys that are on dating apps are not on dating apps because they want to find a girlfriend or they want to find their future wife and like buy her a house and like love her. No, they treat dating apps like a game. It is literally a game to them. An easy source for validation, an easy source to get some kitty. Because you might think that like you're going to go on dates with guys and you're not going to do that. But there are women on there who are giving it away for free. He is going to use that to his advantage. And yeah, he might date you and this and that, but he's always going to get in his own head about it, because why would he invest into somebody when he can easily go and meet up with Katie tonight and get in between her legs?